It's time for Real Estate 101 with the Karey Brown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors.
Good Sunday morning to you. This is Karey Brown, broker-owner of Realty Executives Preferred Advisors, and you're listening to Real Estate 101. Today I am here with Steven Parkin with Envista Credit Union, Jamie Beaton, also from Envista Credit Union, and Dian Goebel with Security First. We are really excited because now we are all in the same place. They have now moved in. Steven will be moving into our office and working with our buyers to get them pre-approved for loans. And you can also come in if you're wanting to do a refi. Also, Dian is our designated closer for our office. She has an office inside of our office and will be working with our clients to close their homes. So now I'll stop talking and let them tell you about all the great things they have to offer. Steven, tell us all about all the great products that you guys have to offer at Envista.
Thanks, Karey. Yeah, right now we have some awesome products at Envista that are going to help, hopefully, a lot of people out achieve their financial goals. One of them is we're really working on promoting a 97% home possible loan. So that's going to be just 3% down for our borrowers, which is going to be helpful in getting you guys into a home for not a lot of money. And it helps you kind of build equity faster, especially with rates being so low. It's a great time where people can even possibly skip that home starter and just be able to get into a home for long term. So we're really excited about that. As Karey mentioned, we're also available for refinances if people want to come in and talk about that. With rates being so low, we're saving tons of members lots of money, and we're excited to do that.
So, Steven, tell me, whenever a buyer comes in to meet with you, what should they have with them to get ready to purchase a home?
That's a great question, Karey. I think one of the most important basic things that people can bring in that's going to help us get them approved quickly is income verifications. For most people, that's going to be most recent year's W-2 and 30 days pay stubs. What's helpful along with that is seeing some bank statements, but honestly, those income verifications lets us know if you're going to be qualified for the home range that you want to be in, or to just figure out what your max qualification is so that the Realty Executive team can get you guys shopping for the right home for the right price and get you what you need.
So we were just discussing how great it is to have everything in one place. So you're in a familiar office. You've got your lender. You've got your title company. And we all know what we're doing. We've all been in the business for quite some time. And so the whole point of that is to make it an easier process for our clients, both buyers and sellers alike. I know when it comes to listing a home, people oftentimes don't understand what title work means, why they have to have it, all of those things. So, Dian, if you would, please explain that to the consumer. Why do I need title work?
Karey, you're going to need your title work because you're going to want to be assured that your title is clear, that you don't have any clouds on your title. For instance, you don't have any liens that are or judgments that would produce a lien on your title. You're going to want to make sure that there aren't any tax liens or foreclosures that have been possibly not taken care of. Now you can make sure that your title is correct and doesn't have any clouds on it.
So, Dian, elaborate a little bit more. What is a lien?
A lien would be like a mortgage that has not been released, possibly from the old owner, or a judgment against the property, perhaps in a divorce case, whether they have child support or attorney fees that may be due. And you have federal liens, which of course would be, you'd have to take care of those because that is a priority. You cannot release a federal tax lien from real estate. It has to be paid. And state tax liens, so those are all the kind of liens and encumbrances that could affect your title.
So the whole point in that, as she had said, was basically to make sure that you're passing clear title to the new borrower, which obviously affects Steven and Jamie because if it's not correct, they can't loan money on your house. So it has to be done, otherwise we don't get the money, and they are the money people. So that makes perfect sense. So when it comes to a buyer, what should they bring with them to closing for you, Dian?
First thing we're going to need, of course, is their ID because it is a requirement that we have to see their personal ID, that they are not a foreign entity.
So basically, they can close, correct, with the green card?
Yes, you can close with the green card.
So if you have one, you can buy a house.
That's correct. And we just need copies of those items, and then we just make copies and return them directly to them.
So really, whenever you're a buyer, all you need is your ID and a check. Typically, the lender comes with the check for you unless you're paying cash. And when I say check, it has to be a cashier's check. So no one takes checks anymore because, those things can bounce. And not ever probably intentionally, but it happens. So basically, you're coming in with just the check and your ID. Everything else is there waiting for you. And we go through it. We try to make it a pretty quick, pretty fun process. But at any given point in time, you feel like you don't understand what has been read to you. And believe me, there's so much information there. It is perfectly okay to say, listen, please explain this to me because I don't understand. We do this every day, so it's kind of like when you go to your job, you know what you're doing. But if I were to go to your job with you, chances are I would be looking at you like a deer in the headlights because I wouldn't know what the heck to do. So same thing with us. It really boils down to stop, explain this to me. And that way we know whenever you leave that closing, you know exactly what you've signed, exactly what that means to you. And the most important thing to remember is if you don't pay, you don't get to stay. But beyond that, the rest of it we go through, you have all the documents with you. And when it comes tax time, you're going to want to have your closing disclosure to take with you for your taxes because, hey, the government, you get to pay them a little bit less money because now you own a home. So Jamie and Steven are going to answer this question for me, but if you're a self-employed borrower, what does that mean? What does a lender need?
Thanks, Karey. That means we usually need at least 2 years of personal tax returns in addition to 2 years of your business tax returns. What a self-employed borrower makes is typically different on paper because they will have a significant amount of deductions from, various business expenses that they have wrote off. So what is reported to the government is different, and that is the income we will have to use.
You're absolutely right, Jamie. Our issue in qualifying self-employed borrowers is always that we can only use qualifying income that's reported to the government. So we have to get those tax returns in to analyze them so that we can get you in the right house.
Absolutely. And we will be doing in the future lunch and learns, which we'll do with businesses or we can do with churches, any kind of group that we can come in and we can actually go through these different processes and give you what you're going to need, a checklist, and go through credit. We also partner with housing and credit counseling, so we can go through and say, okay, well, what if my credit's not good right now? What do I need to do? If you haven't checked your credit in quite some time, we can go through how to do that. If you haven't, just a tip, go out to freeannualcreditreport.com and you can pull each one of your credit reports. You can also go in and dispute or add information. So if something's not correct on there, you can dispute it and they will have to take it off if it is incorrect. So there are all kinds of ways to get up to speed on your credit. If you don't have credit, we can walk you through how to get that. So there's all different kinds of things in those lunch and learns that we can use to help you get to where you're going. Also, if you're looking to sell, we can go through how to get your house ready, what you can expect to net when you're done, all of those different types of things.
That brings up a really good point, Karey. When it comes to purchasing a home, credit worthiness is essential. What we will look at is we have to pull a merged credit report. So what that means is each credit report. So we'll get a TransUnion, Experian, and an Equifax report, and we will use all three of those scores. Basically, we need a score of higher than a 620, and usually with a minimum of 3 trade lines. The good thing about Envista is we come with years of financial strength, and we are used to reviewing and building credit for our members. If you aren't there yet, we have a lot of options for you. We offer shared secured loans, visas, student loans also report to your credit report. So whether you're in repayment mode, those always help build that score. And those are the things we're looking for when getting you approved for a mortgage. There are a lot of misconceptions where credit is concerned. Unfortunately, your cell phone bill, your energy bill, those monthly utility bills you pay every month don't report to any of the credit agencies. Also, if you have saved a lot of money in order to purchase this home and you've always paid cash, that does not mean you will be able to get approved. It also doesn't mean you have any credit established, unfortunately. That's why, as Karey mentioned, it's always good to pull your credit report and see where you're at the start of the process.
We've also put together a spreadsheet that we send out to our clients, and basically it's kind of like an all-in-one. So we have, what are my passwords, what are my typical payments, and then we have a section that says this is what my payment should be, this is what it really was this month, so you can tell if you're overspending. And then you can also see in the total how much you spend for that each year, so you can decide if cable is really worth how much you spend. I know in my house, my husband believes that it is because he wants the sports package. If it were me, we wouldn't have it. We would just have Netflix, mostly because I don't watch sports. But when it comes to budgeting, it's good to see all of that in one place, and then it also has a place for your check register. And then we also put in an amortization schedule, which is like every time you make a payment on your house, how much you have left. So if you were to make more towards the principal, it does the adjustments all the way down. So you can see how many months you're knocking off by making that additional payment. So if you're interested in seeing that or having that sent to you, just shoot me an email at preferredadvisorsteam@gmail.com, which, by the way, our phone number at the office is 785-213-5188, and that's to get a hold of Realty Executives Preferred Advisors Team. Again, you can email us at preferredadvisorsteam@gmail.com. Also, be sure and check out our website. We're pretty proud of it. It is NE for Northeast, NE Kansas Homes, plural.com. And that has all of the MLSs for the Northeast Kansas region. So that's Kansas City, Lawrence, Topeka, and Manhattan, which encompasses a very broad area. So you can look at thousands and thousands of homes and just go to one place. You can save what you're looking for. You can set up your own campaign as far as homes. So it's all one place. It's more accurate than Zillow because Zillow does not have all of those MLSs. They only have 2 of them. So again, all accurate data all in one place instead of getting really excited about a house that's already sold. So Steven, what is your contact information at Envista?
Yeah, my contact information at Envista Credit Union is going to be Steven.Parkin, and that's Steven with a V, and Parkin is just like parking a car with no G, at EnvistaCreditUnion.com. So it's ENVISTACU.com. And if you wanted to call in, you could reach us at 785-228-0149.
And Dian, what is your contact information at Security First?
You can reach me at Security First, a phone number of 785-272-2900. And my email address would be D, and that's GOE, B as in boy, EL, at security, the number 1, STKS.com.
Please join us again after the break. We're going to have a word from our sponsors.
Southwest Topeka has a good neighbor. State Farm agent Jim Garrison, now at 29th and Urish. If your current insurance situation has you going around in circles, get off the roundabout and stop in and meet Jim and his wonderfully efficient staff. Let Jim Garrison give you a quote and make the Garrison comparison. He's confident that with State Farm's competitive rates, the right coverage, and his unmatched service, you'll want to make him your new insurance agent. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and Jim Garrison is there for you, northeast of the roundabout at 29th and Urish.
Thanks for joining us again. This is Karey Brown, broker-owner of Realty Executives Preferred Advisors, and you're listening to Real Estate 101. So the most common questions we're asked is, what exactly is the process of buying a home? So since we're all here, we're going to tell you. Steven being the first because he is the lender and they're the ones with the checkbook. So Steven, tell them what goes into that first step.
Great question, Karey. The first step is really getting you pre-approved, as we mentioned a little earlier. It's getting you into our office so we can get some of that personal information and pull that credit that we talked about. It's most important to know your credit, your cash, and your income, what you make, what you can put down for a purchase, and just having that good credit reputation so we can get you pre-approved. And once you're pre-approved, we're going to be communicating both with you and your realtor so that we can get you shopping in the right price bracket. And so you get to do the fun part, which is actually going out and seeing homes.
So that comes back to us at Realty Executives, and we partner you with an agent on our team. We work together as a team. So essentially you get all of us for the same price. And if you're a buyer, if you weren't aware, 99% of the time you will never write a check for commission. The seller pays commission. That is so confusing, and it's unfortunate that it is, because by having your own real estate agent, you have your own representation, which means you've got somebody fighting to help you. By using the agent that lists the house, you don't have that. Their job is to represent the seller. And then there are also other agencies that technically don't represent either party. They just write the contract. So you want to have a buyer's agent representing you. So once we've established that, we sit down, we go through the documents with you. We give you an idea of what the contract looks like. We put it in layman's terms because, the legal version versus the common version, it's hard to understand. So we try to make it as easy and clear and concise as possible. We go through the steps of buying a home and what you should be looking for. We really encourage you not to spend what you're fully capable of buying, because you still have to factor in, and that's the reason why we created the budget spreadsheet. You have to factor in, what is daycare? Am I going to need a new car? Will my insurance go up whenever my 16 or 17-year-old starts driving? Clothes, private schooling, if you have that, lunches, all of those things go into your daily living. And just because you can qualify for more does not mean you should. So that's the whole point, again, of putting all that together. From that, we don't make you sit down and go through your budget with us. You're grown adults. That is what we feel like you know what you're doing. If you don't, ask us. We have literally sat down with people and their budgets before and gone through and helped them pick a price of a home that they could afford. Then we get to do the cool stuff, which is go look at houses. We are there to actually point out the things that might typically be a concern that you should have inspected. We're not inspectors. There's a lot of misconceptions about that. If we see it and we feel like it might be a problem, we say, listen, hey, there's a problem here. It's really easy to go into a home and start getting great ideas and looking at all the beautiful furniture. I mean, I've walked into homes that I'm like taking pictures because I'm like, I'm going home and I'm going to do that to my house. And with that, you may not notice that there are cracks in places that there shouldn't be cracks. And they're more than just cosmetic. So our job is to look at those things and see if we can find, anything that we feel like might be concerning. Again, we're not inspectors. We're just there to point that out. And from there, we start going through, what it's going to take to make an offer, what is considered reasonable. Again, we always want you to get a good price, but that doesn't mean that seller is able to accept that price. So it really boils down to what two parties can agree to. And then at that point, we go through the inspection process. And during that process, we should probably talk about what Steven and Jamie are doing. And Dian, because those are very crucial parts of the deal. So we've got a house, we've picked it out, we've made an offer, we've gotten it accepted. So, Steven, let's talk about what happens on your side then.
So the next step, once you actually get a contract fully executed, which just means signed by seller and buyer, as Karey mentioned, is we're going to want a copy of that. And then that's where we're going to get you a list. We want to make sure at approval that we give you a list of, hey, this is all the stuff we're going to need documentation-wise, and that's just due to federal regulations. There's tons of regulations that require documentation to prove that we're not falsifying your income to qualify you for a house. And so at that point, we want to get that, and then we want to get you rate locked. Jamie, why don't you talk more about getting them locked in at the fixed interest rates?
What we will need to do is have all of your verifications in. Again, that means 30 days of pay stubs, the most recent year's W-2, and 30 days of bank statements typically. That can vary again depending on your employment, but then we will have you sign for your rate lock. We offer 30, 20, and 15-year notes, and the rates can and do vary. So check with, it will depend on the day we get all of this in that, we're able to get that locked. At that point, we also have you sign an appraisal addendum. That just means there is a cost for the appraisal. And if for one reason or the other, the loan doesn't close and the appraisal's been done, you would have to pay for the appraisal. And that usually averages around $400. But again, that is typically part of your closing costs.
And part of our job as a realtor is to try and get the other party to pay for your closing costs. It doesn't always work out that way. Again, sellers may not have those funds available, so you need to be budgeted and prepared to pay for them. But we're going to do our best to try and prevent that. So once we have the contract, once you've got your rate locked, let's talk about, Diane, what are you doing on the backside to make sure that that deal goes through in a timely manner?
Okay, Karey, what we would be doing at that time is also we would need a copy of the contract. And once we have that copy of the contract, we would begin the search on the property. We'll search the property, the real estate involved, and we will individually search the seller and the buyer on these properties to make sure that, again, we're talking about those liens. We don't want any liens on the property. We're going to coordinate with the realtors and make sure that we have all the inspections that we need, copies of those. If they've been paid outside of closings, we, of course, need paid invoices that they've been paid outside of closing. And then we would produce the settlement statement, and we'll do that gradually because the lender will also send us information as to what they need to have on this settlement statement. And we will coordinate that with the realtors and the lender to make sure that everyone agrees on this amount.
So with our team, we are super lucky to have our own transaction coordinators. So you're not having a realtor trying to balance all these balls. Jenny in our office and Cody put together all of the invoices. They get them over to the title company and everything that the lender needs, because the lender does need to see some of the inspections. So we get those dispersed out to everybody that needs them. When it comes to closing, in our office, you will have seen everything that has been sent to us. We send it to you to e-sign. We can also attach it all in one lump package so that you have that also. So you will have seen it in person. You will have seen it again to e-sign it. And then if you at any point you have questions, you can ask us, but we go through the negotiation process. So when it comes through the inspection phase, no house is perfect. I have seen inspectors stay for hours to try and find something wrong in houses that were as close to perfect as you could get them. But in reality, there is always at least a couple of thousand in repairs. And in any home, it's just the way it is. It's the same thing with a car. If you take it in, chances are you're going to need some tune-up. It's a house you live in, and most of the time we're kind of rough on them. So unless you walk around, you never touch a wall, and you fix everything as it comes up, by the way, I love you, and I want to be your listing agent. But if you aren't that person, you're normal. That's just the way it works. So we negotiate those items. Again, those go into typically on your final closing disclosure, because the inspector and the people doing the work are getting paid out on that final settlement. So from there, whenever Diane and Jamie and Steven get all their documents that we send to them, and they have reviewed their final numbers with you, which we'll talk about what that looks like. Speaking of which, we should probably just talk about what that looks like.
Awesome. We're getting to the good part where you guys are going to get keys to your home. But before we get there, we have to have what's called a closing disclosure. So the title company is going to have a settlement statement, and that's our version, is the closing disclosure. And due to regulations that changed back in October of 2015, we actually have to provide that to you at minimum 3 days prior to closing. And that's a great change for borrowers and for lenders. We love having everything ready, clean as a whistle, and you can close feeling comforted that everything has been taken care of ahead of time. And we want you to know what those figures look like. So part of that is getting you this disclosure that's going to show your fixed interest rate, your loan amount, your monthly payment that will be escrowed as well, and then how much money you need to bring to closing to buy this home. And that's the closing disclosure that's going to be final and fixed in place, hopefully at least 3 days prior to closing.
Okay, so we're now at the closing table, and everybody's there. We have accepted IDs from everyone, and now we have the lender's papers. So first of all, we're going to make sure that we have all of their documents in place. We're going to go over the commitment that is going to show how you are taking title, how much your mortgage policy is for, what your owner's policy is for, and then go over the conditions of the commitment to make sure that they're all in place and have been taken care of. We're also going to secure that all the taxes have been taken care of and are paid in full for that prior year. We're going to go ahead and go through all your inspections. You'll probably either have to sign them or initial these inspections, just saying that you're acknowledging that they have been done and you are aware of them. The next thing that would be on our list would be to go over your actual lender papers. The first thing usually is your first payment. It shows you when your first payment is, when it's due, and how much it is, and how they have calculated your hazard insurance and your taxes so you get to your bottom payment. Then we will probably go through your note, your mortgage, your application, and any other documents that the lender would have you sign. Most of these documents are things you've already seen, but we're going to have to do a final one at closing. And then we are going to give you some keys after you give us the cashier's check.
They wait to take your cashier's check to the very end, so you get to hold on to it as long as possible. Unfortunately, it's not earning interest while it's sitting at the table, though. So once you've closed, our job is to be there if you need us. If you have any issues, like, say, for instance, with a home warranty company, we work with them a lot, and oftentimes we can help you out if there is an issue. And then just to be there, we always love to go in after you've moved in and see the pictures. If you want to have a housewarming party, we will host that for you so that you get to meet your neighbors, which we think is a lot of fun. And you can invite your friends and family. We usually like to help you get settled first so that you're not having boxes sitting around everywhere. So we know it's not right away, but definitely consider that. It's just a fun way to really actually meet your neighbors in a world where we all go to work, we come home, we pull into the garage, shut the garage door, and half the time we don't know our neighbors' names. It would be a great way to just get to know your community. So if you're looking to buy or sell, first off, call Steven to get pre-approved, or Jamie. You guys give your contact information one more time.
My email address is Jamie, Jamie, at envistacu.com, or you can reach me directly at 785-228-8016.
And my email address is Steven, Steven, .Parkin, Parkin, at envistacu.com. And you can call me at 785-228-0149.
And Diane?
Hi, my email address is Goebel, that's DGOE, B as in boy, EL, at Security First, that would be the number 1, STKS.com. Phone number is 785-272-2900.
And if you're looking to buy or sell, our phone number at the office is 785-213-5188. You can also email us at preferredadvisorsteam@gmail.com. And by the way, if you would like to come in, our address, and this is where you can find myself, my team, Steven, and Diane at any given point in time, between office hours. And our address is 2220 Southeast 29th Street in Topeka. So we're on the backside of Becker and Lawson's building. We're the second door, so pull in the parking lot will be the white door. They're the green. And also, again, we service anywhere from the Kansas City border, where we don't go into Missouri, down to Emporia, clear up north to the Horton area, and all the way out west to Junction City. So if you're looking to buy or sell in any of those areas, please give us a call. Again, 785-213-5188. And thanks for listening to Real Estate 101.
Thank you for listening to Real Estate 101 with the Karey Brown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors. Tune in again next Sunday at 11 o'clock for Real Estate 101.